I had lost my direction somewhere when I came into the house. I looked out the window expecting to see Roosevelt Park, but this was not that window. We were on the way on the back of the house. From here you got a terrific bird's eye views of Lee Sing's back garden. I wondered if you might catch a peek at Lee Sing's old mother from up here, if you stayed at your post long enough. I mean to tell you, I said, I think Esperanza is a beautiful name. And someone told me it means to wait and also to hope. That in Spanish, the same word means both things. But I thought it was pretty even before I knew it meant anything. It reminded me of, I don't know, a waterfall or something. She nodded. Tailor doesn't mean anything that interesting. A tailor hems up people's pants and stuff like that. Her mouth stretched a little bit in the direction of a smile, but her eyes looked blank, dark black holes. You understand basically everything I'm saying, right? She nodded again. I think that's how Turtle is, too, but people always forget. They think she doesn't take in any more than she puts out. But I know better. I could tell she understands stuff. It's something about the way she looks at you. Esperanza kept staring at her empty hands. I wish I had something to put in them. Something that would be wonderful for her to look at. I hope you don't mind me talking about Turtle. Her eyes flew up at me like a pair of blackbirds scared out of safe hidings. Esteban told me about Ismene, I said. I'm sorry. When I first found out you'd taken the pills, I couldn't understand why you do such a thing to yourself. To Esteban. But when he told me that, God, how does a person live with something like that? She looked away. This conversation would have been hard enough even with two people talking. No matter what I said, it was sure to be the exact wrong thing to say to someone who recently swallowed a bottle of baby aspirin. But what would be right? Was there some book in the library where you could look up such things? That's the main thing I came up here to tell you is, I don't know how you go on, but I really hope you keep doing it. That you won't give up Esperanza. I thought of it last night. Esperanza is all you get. No second chances. What you have to do is try and think of reasons to stick it out. She had tears in her eyes, but that seemed better somehow than nothing at all. It's terrible to lose somebody, I said. I mean, I don't know firsthand, but I can imagine it must be. But it's also true that some people never have anybody to lose, and I think that's got to be so much worse. After a long time, I said, he's crazy about you. I went over and took one of the hands in her lap and held it for a second. Her skin felt cold and emptied out, like there was nobody at home. As I left to go back to work, I saw the woman with the cardboard box, still in the living room. She was sorting through a handful of possessions she had laid out on the sofa. A black Cirque, a small book bound in red vinyl, a framed photograph, a pair of baby sneakers tied together by the laces, and carefully putting them back into the box. On Wednesdays, just as I was finishing up the last patch of the day and getting ready to head for home, I spotted Luann stepping off the bus at the Roosevelt stop. I yelled for her to wait up, and she came over and talked to me a while. I used the water hose to wash the black dust off my hands. One thing I can tell you right now about tires, they're dirty business. Luann had just been for a job interview at a convenience store in the north side. She left Turtle and Dwayne Ray with Edna and Miss Parsons. So the first thing the guy says to me is, we got a lot of armed robberies in here, sweetheart. He kept on calling me sweetheart and talking to my boobs, instead of my face. This big flabby guy with greasy hair. And you just know he reads every one of those porno magazines they keep behind the counter. Lots of stick-up, sweetheart. How do you hold up your pressure? He says. Hold up? That was his idea of a big, hilarious joke. Geez, the whole thing gave me the creeps from the word go. I could see that she had dressed up for this interview. Nice skirt, iron blouse, stockings, pumps. In this heat? The humiliation of it made me furious. Something's better bound to come along, I said. You can hold out. And I wiped my hands on a towel, hollered goodbye to Maddie, and we headed down the sidewalk. I hate that place, she said, nodding back over her shoulder at Fanny Heaven. Yeah, I said, but on the bright side, Maddie says they don't do a whole lot of business there. She thinks having a place called Jesus Lord right next door kinda puts a hex on it. Luann shuddered. That door's what gets me. The way they made that door handle, like a woman is something you shove on and walk right through. I try to ignore it, but it gets me mad. Don't ignore it then, I said. Talk back to it. Say, you can't do that number on me, you, or something like that. Otherwise it kind of weasels its way into your head whether you like it or not. You know those hard-boiled eggs they keep around in jars of vinegar in bars? It's like that. After a while they get to tasting awful. And it's not the egg's fault. What I'm saying is that you just can't sit there. You gotta get mad. You really think so? I do. The thing about you, Taylor, is that you just don't let anybody put one over on you. Where'd you ever learn to be like that? Luann wanted to know. Nutter school.